as Hades if you go and stay the night with Mom. You know I live for your minute-by-minute reporting. Selene shot a glower at me before rolling to her other side. I grinned, taking the small victory, then chugged a bit of the icy water. I'm actually surprised you haven't abandoned me already. Aunt Lavender has central AC too, doesn't she? Assuming she remembered to pay the electricity bill on time, Selene replied, her back to me. I'm pretty sure Checkers has her set up with autopay by now. That cat is highly tech-savvy. Yes, well, bully for Checkers. I sighed, but let any admonishment slide. We were both too grumpy to get into it. Think they'll come to family dinner tonight? I picked up my phone and scanned the screen for any new texts or missed calls, but found nothing from Mom, Clint, or Aunt Lavender. I texted her a reminder, but it doesn't look like she's seen it yet. Undoubtedly, she's too busy making her final plans. Selene flopped back over so she could look up at me, her tail flicking absently against the counter. You know she means to leave in October? I nodded, as an unpleasant mix of emotions swirled in my stomach. I was worried for my aunt. None of her adventures were without risk, and this one seemed even more uncertain and high stakes than many from the past. Added to that were her increased age and relatively inexperienced familiar. Checkers was a great companion, and had already proved quite invaluable to my aunt in her day-to-day life, but he was still pretty new to being a familiar, and didn't have a grasp on his own magic, beyond the ability to speak. In case of danger, the most he'd be able to do would be to run and yell for help. Then there were Selene's emotions over the whole affair, and as she was my own familiar, her feelings tended to spill over into my own worries. She was a force of nature on a good day, so when she got into a foul mood, well, it was just better if that didn't happen, for everyone's sake. I gnawed at the corner of my lip as thoughts battled within my mind. Selene, I think it's fine, Cora. Another tail thump. I don't need platitudes. What I need is for you to call your mother and see what she's cooking tonight. Did she ever end up taking that sushi class? Because I could really go for some sashimi. By dusk, 2 of Selene's wishes had come true. The HVAC repairs were a success, and Mom had indeed completed her sushi-making training and spoiled us with a feast to show off her newfound skills. What a perfect night, Selene said, on the tail end of a contented sigh, as she considered the spread of dishes across Mom's dining room table. Fresh fish, cold air, and no mangy dog panting in all of our ears. She directed the last part toward me. Mom laughed as she came in from the kitchen, bearing yet another platter. This is the last one, she said, before I could protest. It's called a dragon roll. Isn't that so fun? She set the platter down, then straightened and brushed her hands together, beaming with well-earned pride. How is Clint? He's in Bellevue? Today and tomorrow, I replied with a nod. Then he's headed down to the Oregon coast to scout out a small town there. Have you heard of Hazelwood Hollow? Demographically, it's supposed to be pretty close to Winterspell, but about half the size. Clint thinks it might be a good market for a third shop, something smaller, more curated. Oh, wow, I didn't realize you two were thinking of opening another. Mom glanced at Selene in time to ward off a sneaky attempt to snag a piece of sashimi. You have to wait for Evan and the kids. I frowned at my familiar. Not to mention, no one wants your litter paws on everything. We'll dish up what you want. Undeterred, Selene sent a flourish of pink sparks toward the platter in question, levitating one perfect portion of the raw fish, flashing a wicked grin as it sailed toward her mouth on the burst of borrowed magic. Selene, what? I didn't use my paws. You're impossible, I muttered, as Mom dragged the platter a few inches further from the cat. Not that it would do much good, when she could nip a pawful of magic whenever she wanted. You owe me, Selene protested, around a full mouth of fish. I've been sweltering for days in that house.